Good morning, everybody. Back again. Right, I have been doing a little bit of jigging and I think that we can make this our last part. So part 4. There's quite a bit I want to get in because I just want to show you some other ideas that you can do as well. Just checking that, yes. With your boxes for decoration. And some little tricks and turns that will, excuse me, are going to save you time as well. If you don't want to decorate panels, this is the one I'm working on actually, which would be fantastic for christening presents, Holy Communion. You know, maybe if you've got, if you're raising money at your church. So I'm going to use that to just show you about putting diamantes. Right, let's move on to this. I've got this awful, is it this one? I'm so sorry. We've got this awful, I know it's just so off-putting to have these. I really have to try and get my setup a little bit better. So I apologise for this being in the way. Never mind. Right, as long as you can see the tutorial. Okay, so let me just remember we did our internal yesterday and I said to you cut at 10, drop it. That's what the problem was. It was, I thought 10 centimetres, because this was a 10.5 inside, I thought 10 centimetres was going to be enough drop, but it's not. 9 centimetres is a good drop. Now to get it perfectly fitting the outside, so you've got that stability, you're going to have to measure a couple of millimetres, so it would probably be like 9.3 millimetres. Now, 9 is fine, okay, and this is going to give us our box at the bottom. So do you see what I mean when I said we're going to make, this is going to be our battery underneath? And then all I've done, again, you could use your compass and you could measure it out, within the millimetre to get it completely covered. But I'm just thinking time, and you're not going to see the bottom anyway, because once you've got your tissue paper and everything in there and your book, your memory book, you're not going to need it. It's not that you're not going to need it, but you're not going to have to worry too much. So I just cut out the largest from your memory book, the largest hexagon in the set, and just cut down, and that's going to be my cover for my battery box at the bottom. You could use it, that's where you really want to use this, where you're covering it up. You really need to use a 300 GSM, as big as big a GSM as you can get. You really want it hard. If you can't get hold of that, maybe 200 GSM and use 3, stick 3 together, or 300 GSM and stick 2 together. You want this hard, because remember your memory book's going on the top of that. So your cover needs to be as hard as possible, but still enough so that you can score down the side and use one as an opening to get into your batteries at the bottom. So I hope that one clears that up. Now we're going to talk about the batteries, and we're going to show you how we string the lights through. Now I did go ahead and just added my decoration. You could have done that before you put it on. Now, because I have used these, this was another one that Tonic, this is from Tonic, it's quite an old dye. Because I have used these and I've just put some double-sided foam tape on the hearts to stick them down, I have complicated my life, because you are going to really have to jig it about to get it back in. Do you see what I mean? Because we've got these little sticky out bits. But believe me, it makes a difference when the lights go on, shine up from above. They look fantastic. So let's just put that to one side, and let's concentrate on these lights. Okay, now lights. Let's quickly talk about lights, because I really wanted to just have a quick talk. Now there's lots of different lights out there. I don't have to teach you I don't need to teach you how to suck eggs. There's loads of different lights, okay? Lights with lovely beads and crystals on them. So, you might not want to hide them. I was thinking about it. Sometimes lights within a project and having these do look, it's quite modern, isn't it? It's quite a modern look. But I was just aware there's so many different sets of lights. You know, this is what I was talking about as well. With regards to, these are the ones that I have been using. I used it in the other, let's just check these ones work. Yes, they do. This is the one I used in the other box. Let's just show you that one first. Now, what I was saying about the wire, because obviously you're now, before I had it up here, didn't I? But now it's going to feed through and it's going to come underneath. But the lights are wired through the bottom. So what I'm saying is you've got this, which is a couple of millimeters in width. And I'm hoping that it's not going to affect the way your box, because obviously really you need your box sitting completely flat because you don't want it affecting this up the top. I think maybe you'll understand what I mean, and I'm fingers crossed it's going to work, because I just assumed that with these the wire was, we could do it so that we got this part of the wire in. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that when it comes underneath the box, this thicker part, so you've only got wire, and that's not going to affect your inner box coming down and being stuck down. But with these, where I said, well, you could get, you know, thicker lights in, and you can use bigger battery packs. Now, I don't know how many lights are on here. Now, you could use those, providing we can really keep those within our light holders. But I'm just wondering if this, even though it is very, we're talking, do you see what I mean? The width of it, the wire coming through and up, it shouldn't affect the height of the middle box. It shouldn't. But thinking on it, the more of these thicker ones that you wire through, you're going to bring it up. So just on reflection, where's the middle box now? You may want to, when you're doing this box, bring, you know, when you do the side panels, bring this down by a couple of millimeters. Like I said, we'll go ahead and do this and we'll see if it affects it. But I suspect you may need to bring this down. This is if you want perfection. If you are making these boxes to sell, then these are the tweaks you're going to have to make to get your box to the most professional look that it will be. So although I'm being finicky because I want you to, you know, if you, you know, I'm aware that you sell your memory books, and when you're selling the memory books books in these boxes, then you want the most professional look that you can get. And the only way of doing that, because we are hand making these, really, yes, we've got a lot of help with our Tonic dies and our hexagons, but all of these are handmade because you're measuring them yourself. These little tiny tweaks have to be made. It's the difference between having a die set that has everything done for you to making things yourself where you're having to tweak things. So this is why I'm being finicky, because I do want you to have the best outcome. Do you see what I mean? Right, so thinking on this, I am going to, I don't know whether to go ahead and try and wire these, because this is not what I did before. I mean, this is a lot of lights, and I'm thinking maybe I could use these to do another box and put some around the top and some around the bottom, and then I'd only need one battery pack. Do you understand? Because it seems like such a waste to put them all underneath. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use what I originally used, which was these. So you're going to unravel this. You're going to unravel. There is no easy way when working with lights. No easy way. Never looks completely neat, not unless you spend a long time sitting there you know, putting it all together, you know, unraveling it, putting it completely all together. So you are unraveling it, do you see, to a straight line. Right, no easy way. Now I'm going to try and do this so that I hope you can see. It's pretty straightforward. All you're doing is feeding them through these holders, and that's when you'll realise, oh yes, these holders are brilliant, because you need them. Because otherwise you're going to be using tape to stick them down. So these holders are really, you know, they're important to getting a really nice finished project. Plus you can guide with these, the lights are on the wire, so it also gives you scope to make sure that the lights are all shining, do you understand, the right way. Let's just pop that in the bottom. Just bring them through. It's not really that difficult, is it? And then you just want to feed, just carry on feeding. Once you get to a certain point, you'll know that that's, there we go. Now, I'm just pushing these out to the sides so we know that we haven't got them in the way. Do you see? I shall show you this right at the end, but I'm just aware of my hands being everywhere. Okay, so these are now guided, because they're lovely wire, are guided into the side. And here, I'll show you. Let me just put that in. I'm going to just do it a little bit neater. But do you see, when we put our inner box in, where we've got the hexagon cut out, this part, you see this thin part of the wire is where we'll pop it on top. So the thicker part is not going to affect the actual box. Do you see what I mean? So just make sure that these are all pushed into the corners. You can have a little look and make sure none are coming up the top, but I can promise you I've done this so that they won't. Okay, I've really made sure that I've done this so that, you know, it's as perfect as can be. Now, let's pop this in. I'm not, you know, I've put these on, so they might just get a little bit, they just need a little bit of encouragement to go in. Have we got any caught? No. Now I can see that's perfect. See, now I can see that's gone in. And if you look, you can see the thinner part of the wire. Where are you? Can you see the thinner part of the wire is coming up underneath? So it's not going to have any effect on where the box sits. I shall tell you, because I'm doing another one at the moment, and I might use that bigger, I may use the bigger lights, and I will come back and tell you, because now we've got the basics of the box, we should be fine. Now, I am just looking at this and I'm just wondering if I've got some lights underneath, because we have got, do you see, we have got a little bit, and it's actually, yeah, it was on the side, but I think once we have stuck this completely down, which we will do in a minute, let's just check and see, do the check. Now I'm going to show you this, but yes, I don't think you can quite see. I'll have to do that in the dark so you can see it, but you can probably see the lights coming through at the bottom, right? Can you see what I said about the corners? Can you see that little bit of light coming through at the corners? Right, let's get that done. Whoops, let's take that out. So we've got those wide in at the moment, and let's just do all these tiny finishing things that are going to really make your project professional. Right, so this is what I meant, and we're going to quickly do it. Get your piece of tissue paper, and we don't need a whole load. So white piece of tissue paper, if you're using black card, black piece of tissue paper. it shouldn't matter as long as you've got it thick enough so that it kind of stops the light going through. So we're just going to tear some of this off. You don't have to do this, you really don't. It's not an essential part, but you know, it is. It's going to give you a professional finish. So I'm just going in there and I'm just putting a big blob of glue in the corner. And believe me, this is not going to affect your inner box because you've got plenty of room there. And I'm just going to pop that in the corner. Okay, you're going to think, oh, it was a bit weird, but you won't notice it. But it will give you a really lovely finish. And nobody's going to ever know that it's there. Okay, nobody would ever know that it's even there, but it will really, it will also, because it's where the light leaks, you know, that's where you've got light leakage at the corner. And, you know, I said yesterday, and this is true, even if you have dies that are measured for you, okay, even if you have dies that are measured, it won't make a difference. You are still going to get leakage in the corners of your, because you're using, let's just pop this in, because you're having to cut things and piece them together so it's not one long whole piece. So when you're using lights within paper, you never see it if you're not using lights, of course. But when you're using lights, it makes a difference. And there is no, you get it all the time. Now you're putting it in, excuse me, you're putting it in every corner and it's not going to affect it because you've got 1 centimetre. Just you see, you've got that 1 centimetre in the corners. Not essential part of this project, but it is the finishing touches that make all the difference. And I have got the original one I did, so I can actually show you what I mean about light leakage. Right, we're nearly there. 2 more to go. And then let's really get this project done. I'm trying to zip along because I really want to show you about putting crystals into your boxes. I should think it's probably quite straightforward to you now. You're probably looking at it and thinking, ah, yes, this is where, if we want to, you know, really take our projects to the next level and maybe look at home decor, because this would make a lovely lamp. So it's not just a box. This can be so much. This really can be so much. It's not just a box. And I'll show you in a minute. This could be a lovely lamp. I might be able to do, oh, I can't, can I? Because I was just about to say I might be able to do it on this one with the lights in it. I was going to show you on the other one because I hadn't quite finished the other one. So here we go. That's all nice. Corners done. There we go. So you're going to look at it and think, oh, weird, but let's see them, and it's going to really, let me just check. Yes, 100%. It's completely taken away all the leakage, and what's more is it's bringing more light. It's amazing. Even if you get a tiny bit of leakage of light, I know because I work with light all the time in my projects. I do a lot of wall features. So I do, and it does make a difference. Right, now, before I go ahead, shall I put this together and then maybe show you on the other one? Let's do that because, where are we? 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and finish this one. Now, I won't put that in at the moment because I'm just going to show you about the edges. Now, I quickly, because do you remember I said I was going to put something in there to give it a little bit of help around the edges at the top? Now I was going to go 9mm, and then I thought, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was going to go 9mm, and then I thought, no, just do it at a centimetre. So all I've done is I've taken a piece of card and I've just scored down every centimetre. So I've gone on my scoreboard, and every single centimetre I have scored a line. I've done this on 210 GSM, and I'm hoping it's not going to bulk it out too much, but we'll find out. You know, I've not done this, so fingers crossed. So you see it makes this kind of tube. Now you remember I said about you can string lights at the top? Well, I don't want to do it with this project, but I thought having that centimetre in each side is going to help you be able to stick this around the edge. I'm just hoping that you know, taking it a millimetre down might help. So we're going to find out. We are going to find out. Another thing I wanted to say, and I'm going to be quite, it might be a bit controversial with regards to paper and GSM. Now, I'm quite a frugal crafter. If I can get away with crafting and not having to spend a maximum, you know, ridiculous amounts of money on it, then I'm going to do it. We're cutting five each side, right, to make this long tube square. By the way, I will. Yes, I'm quite frugal, so I tend not to work too much with 300 GSM, and I'll tell you the reason why. I always work with 200, always 200 or 210. This is 210, and 210 for me is quite thick. Now, especially when you're making memory books and you're putting things on and on, it thickens things up. And sometimes it affects projects. It does. So 300 GSM, yeah, it's great. Brilliant for your hardcovers, like I think Jodie always says, you know, 300 for your hardcovers in your book to make them nice and hard. But even with the boxes, and I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute, because I've just done, oh, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more to go. I hope I've done enough. 1, 2. I think I'll just get a 5 out of that, I hope. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so if you do a whole line at a centimetre, that will just give you enough for this box. I've cut this down 1 centimetre and I cut it at 11. Remember, our hexagon was 11.5, this size box, but I've cut it down at 11 because the edges will be fine. This is just to give it stability. Now, if you were doing lights, you wouldn't do a whole tube like this because you couldn't string the lights all the way through. You would just do sort of a bit in the middle, but I think it would be fine. So I'm going to show you what I mean with regards to this whole 300 GSM. Now I've just used 300 microns acetate in the box that I told you. Do you remember that where I said this is a bigger panel, you're cutting out loads? Right. Okay. Let's, I'm just thinking if I try and do the quickest way possible of putting these boxes together, really, is by tape. Sorry, should have really done this beforehand, but I'm going to speed along. Not done this before, hope it's going to work. Fingers crossed and all that. I really want to show you this because I want you to get as much out of this tutorial as possible, because I know everybody's going to, you know, you always have questions, but this, that's quite a heavy tape, isn't it? See, the more and more, that's quite a thick tape. I'm not going to use that. Do you understand where adjustments, this is much thinner, this one's much thinner. Do you understand where adjustments have to be made when you are making things? Because now I've used 210 GSM, and it's, my opinion, that's quite thick. You know, it is quite thick. Then you start putting tape on, it's bulking it out even more. This is where I suppose it comes with experience. Do you remember, I always turn around and say there aren't mistakes in crafting. It's a learning journey. And you really only, I only found this out by doing the same things and making, not mistakes, they're not mistakes, but just putting heavy card, really heavy card together, it being too thick, things not sticking down properly. We all know this, and the only reason we all know this is because we've all done it. So it's the experience of it. And even sometimes when you are telling people your experience, I just think that sometimes you're never going to really know unless you do it yourself. And then that's how you can understand, you know, it's a crafting learning journey. Right, getting these together as quickly as I possibly can. Okay, and you'll see what I mean. I've just got to keep my fingers crossed and hope that maybe I'm just wondering if 210 GSM could be too thick. You know, I didn't make the box out of 210 GSM because I didn't have 210 GSM at the time. I had 200. And also as well, I don't know about you, but I think sometimes it depends where you buy your card from. Because some card stock is, I've had lots of different card stock and it says 200. And sometimes I look at it and I think, is it? Maybe you've all done the same. Sometimes I look at it and think, are you sure that's 200 GSM? I don't think so. Oh. Sorry, I've just come off camera a bit. Let me just pull that back up. See, this is 200. Just need to, I'm just pushing my scissors. The reason I'm doing this is so that it's completely stuck at the ends. Now you're going to do yours a lot neater, and you really are going to take your time with yours. I'm just trying to make sure these are all really stuck down. I'm thinking, and I know this before I've even, see, this is where it comes from experience. I know this before I've even put anything on, that we could have a bit of an issue here, because I think the GSM could be too thick, but let's see. I think my best bet, my thoughts on it all are, you can't go wrong with a 200 GSM. That's just my opinion. 200 GSM always seems to be a good weight of card to add. Right, okay, so do you see where we're going to put these? We are going to stick these here so that we have got, when this goes on, a grab, because otherwise it can be done, but it isn't easy. So this is the final part, and once we've stuck this down, you see, I'm really thinking about this. Once we've stuck these insides down, that's it. It's stuck down. You can change your batteries, but you can't take everything out again. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to put, and I'm going to put these all on the same way round. So I'm going on the join. Honestly, these things do make a difference. Let me tell you, they do. Let's just get that one stuck down a bit properly. So we're going to then put tape on the join. Oh. Again, you're going to take your time. You are really going to take your time with these. Oh. I'm rushing through this because I really, once these are pushed together, you should be okay. All right, you should be okay. Didn't do this before. Working off the cuff. We get there. We will get there. So we are nearly at the end now. I'm, you know, obviously not going to start showing you how to decorate lids, but this, oh, and when we now come up to the lid, after we've got this all stuck down, which is hopefully not going to take very long, when you come up to your lid, you're going to see what I mean when I say, please don't set your lids up. The lid is the last thing you're going to do when you're making these, and I'll show you why. And I'll show you why it's important to always make that bigger lid, because a big lid you can always cut down, but if you make a short lid first, you can't cut it down. Right, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. Haven't done it. Let's go ahead and do it. Fingers crossed that this is going to work. Right, let's do it this way. Fingers crossed this is going to work. You're leaving a little bit. You really want this right to the top, as top to the top as you possibly can get. Did we just take that off? We did, didn't we? We did. Okay. Oh, this is, I'm so nervous. I'm actually so nervous. I'm just thinking, oh, I hope the box is going to fit in. Are we going to be able to manipulate this? You see, when you use a smaller weight, you have manipulation within that weight. Oh, right. Right, hold on, hold on, hold your horses. Hold your horses. Is this going to affect? Let me just, because we've got one bit. This is going to be a squeeze. We can manipulate that though. Do you see what I mean by making sure you have enough bend? Because this is roughed out. This is not something that we can. I'm just wondering if I could have actually cut these down a little bit. We just need that as I'm going and checking. Do you see? So we've got that. You're not going to see underneath, but remember we've got that box that has to be able to fit into this, right? Which is why I'm thinking maybe it's at this point we need to put our box in. This is the point where we need to put our box in. I'm doing this off the cuff. Because now we're going to struggle, aren't we? Just had a thought. So maybe, well, no, we're fine. It's just because I've got these silly, your box would have gone straight in. It's just because I've got these things on and they're a bit of a nightmare. And now even more of a nightmare because we haven't got that extra room. Come on, little things. Come on. There we go. Right. Let's just have a look. So this is where it's either going to go horribly wrong or it's not. Just don't want to be putting too much weight. Do you see what I mean? I don't want to be squashing this. Let's just see if I can, before I put these down, I'm just checking. If I would have done this before, then I wouldn't have this. Right, do you know what I'm going to tell you to do? Instead of cutting them down to 11, right, I'm going to say cut them down. Instead of 11, cut them all down to 10. Right? Cut them all down to 10. So let's just take a little bit off of these. and do them all at 10. Right? I kind of thought to myself, you know what, actually, they are a bit long. So cut them down to 10, and then you're not going to get that. Otherwise, that's better. I think we can manage that. I think 10 will be fine all the way around. You know, it's nice to have them at the corners, but in fact, we don't even need to stick this completely down. We could stick it down while we're there. I've never done it this way. This is the first one I've done this way. So we had to put them box in. So you do, as you're doing it, you are going to have to put the box in first. Okay. Where are we? And then just pop these last three in, sorry, at the end. You could actually pop the box in first. Oh, where are we going? Come on. You could pop the box in first and put these in afterwards, but I'm going to tell you, don't do it on a 200. Don't do it on a 210. Drop this. Drop this. Okay. Drop it a bit. One more now. Let's see. Oh, isn't this exciting? My heart was beating fast. Now, let's just have a look. We have got a very, although it's not actually, I don't think it is. I think it's just the angle I'm looking at it. So let's just pop that in there. Ooh, come on. That's it. Pop that in there. Now, do you understand? Let's how this is going to make this, oh, she says, easier to stick together, because now we've got enough here to push it together. It's perfect. Okay, it's perfect. I'm going to go as far as to say don't glue that down until you've done the top ridge. Right, there's no easy way of doing this, okay? I used glue to put that round. I'm just thinking maybe we could use some tape for the outer edges. Now we've got that stability, it's not such a worry, is it? So maybe we'll go ahead and just put some tape. Where are you, tape? On our outer edges. And I would say do the outer edges going in, because then you know you're going to get a nice, the outer edges need to be fairly neat. So yes, do 10 and not 11 in the middle. You don't have to do that part, but it's going to make a big difference to your lid looking good. And I'm going to show you after I've just set this up, because we're nearly there now. We are nearly there. I know it's a long project. I know it's a lot to take in. You know, you're going to need it. Hopefully you've had a nice cup of tea or coffee watching this, and you're sitting there deciding, oh, is this going to be something I'm going to be able to do? But honestly, the results are, it's not as complicated really when you're doing it. It's just when you're having to explain it in tutorial form, it's difficult, right? So I think I'm going to do this because I'm quite confident with myself now, because I've done a few of these. I'm going to use tape, fingers crossed. But I would suggest you probably best to use wet glue at the top. Right, use your wet glue. Just at least when you do your first one. And maybe, you know what, do what I did. When I first did this, I didn't, you know, use 300 GSM. You know, I mocked one up, and you can get paper now. You know, you can go to the cheap shops and go and get 200 GSM for £1, and that will more than do this box. You probably get two boxes out of it. You know, so always do a trial run before. Now we're nearly there. we are nearly there, and there is no simple way of doing this. I'm hoping, you know, when you're like, oh, I haven't got this right, haven't I? I haven't got this right. Please, please, please. Okay. Right, we're gonna just move you up. We're going to take from our outer edges, and then we should be able to do this with our inner edges, right? So do you understand what I mean? If we had all these dies, this wouldn't be an issue, because everything is measured for you. There's no issues with it at all, is there, when you have these dies? But the work involved in doing it is much more. Right, so what I'm going to do is, you see I've opened out the edges on those. I've really opened out the edges because I'm wanting to really make sure that this is all going, before I'm sticking it completely down, that this is going to fit, okay? And I'm not going to have anything blocking me. I'm going one side completely, always remembering, always looking one side, right? Okay, the next side, opposite sides to each other, opposite sides, and then, did we take the inside tape off? Oh, silly me. And then you probably could have taken the inside tape off. I'm going to lift these up, because now we've got this stuck down. Got a little bit, but that can be, actually that's fine. Do you know where that is? That's where I've not stuck that down at the side properly. I actually used, if you were watching this tutorial, I actually used, do you remember? I said, oh, I'm not going to use that one, I'm going to make another one. Well, I didn't. I actually used the one I did. So just getting all the tape off the insides. Might have paid to have taken it off before, because it wouldn't have affected it. It shouldn't have stuck down, but this is fine. Where are we? Oh, we're nearly there. You could have glued the bottom of this down first, but I was a bit, no, this has worked. I think this has worked. Where are we? So remember, I think we're going to go out, outside, in, push down, push that in, outside, right, opposite sides each way round, okay, and again opposite sides, just there we go. Now, okay, perfect. How perfect is that? That's really good. Now, you don't have to, because you've now got a lot of support at the top. You actually don't have to stick that down. You could run your glue around the edges. Don't forget this is going in and this is going to be stuck down at the bottom. So you could run glue around your edges if you wanted to. I don't think I'm going to, but you could do beforehand, right? Now, that's where your bit goes in the bottom. Oh, I think that's my tape. Make sure you use a really good, decent tape. Okay, I think it's only coming a bit off. Honestly, it's my tape. I've not used a good one. Maybe use your red tape. I was just worried because we've got that. You know, you can go over it. It's just, you know, it's not coming off for any reason, bar just I've used a really cheap tape. So maybe, yes, use your red liner tape. It shouldn't make a difference. I was just worried because it was that thickness of it, but it's actually turned out perfect. Now you can stick this down. I'm not going to, you know, there's no point in me doing it because you know, and I'm aware of time. Then this is going to do, before you put it in there, actually stick that down. If you look at my tutorial on my Hexagon memory book, you will know that I score a line down the middle I stick one half, not memory book, if you look at the Hexagon light up wall feature, you'll see exactly what I do at the back. I score down here and I just leave an opening, okay? I leave an opening there, and then you can get to your battery lights. So it looks visually very nice inside. You haven't got that awful battery sitting at the side. I've got a little bit there where I need to stick that down, but I can, you know what, that is actually really, for handmade, that really is a nice finish. In my opinion, it is a really nice finish. Now, let's move on to the lid. And this is where I've said to you, you know, you need, yeah, we will have to obviously, we'll stick that down inside, and the battery we'll just have to put on a double-sided tape within it so that it just sticks down to it. Now this is where, I'm going to turn this upside down now. And this is where I say, don't put your lids onto the end, okay? Because we have done, let me just take a gulp. We have done one with a panel that's a lot higher. So we're now going to have to take some off of this. And remember, you can always take lots off, but you can't, you know, you can't put it back. So I'm just going to have a look. Now, we know that this is where our lid's going to be. Also as well, for the tightness of the top as well, you don't want to stick it down on there. You want to make sure that it's stuck down here. So let's just have a look and let's just see how much I've got to take off of there. You will have to do yours the same as me, because what have we got there? We've got 1.7 centimetres. It couldn't have been, you know, no, we can't take 2 off because that's not going to leave enough room. We can't take 1.5 because it's not enough. So we are going to need 1.7 centimetres. Wow. Right, I think what I'm going to do, quickly measure this out and take off 1.7 centimetres from the bottom. Where are we? Let's whiz through this because it does have to be exact. Can you see what I'm doing? So 1.7 centimetres is not, you know, I'm just going to do it myself. And from along the bottom here, and then we're just going to draw a line. You know, you don't have to, you've got your marker there, but I do like to, and you're doing it, remember, in the inside, so you're not going to see it. So I'll just do that, and then we can pop this lid on and I can just show you. I mean, you know, if you've watched my other tutorials, that's 1.7, let's make sure we're getting it right. If you've watched the first tutorials on just the normal hexagon boxes and how to put them together, then you will see how to put a lid together, right? It's not difficult. This is exactly the same process, but we're just personalising this size, okay? Actually, do you know what? We don't need to do that. I can put them all together and we can cut them all together. Can't wait. So let's do that. I've got enough to cut through. Excuse me. I tell you what, the weather is beautiful today. It's really beautiful out there. At last, some sunshine. Right, I'm just having a look. I've got to just make sure this is, you have to, you know, when you're cutting these down, make sure they're perfectly aligned. You know, I don't have to teach you how to. Right, to really make sure. Ta-da. Now, I'm just aware that this is going to make it quite a short lid. Because of these panels, we're going to really get quite a short lid on this. So, I don't know what that's going to look like, but we'll soon find out. We will soon find out. Actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's a short lid, yes, but not bad. Right. Let's pop this on, and then what's the time? Sorry, just, oh, we're on 49, 10 minutes. I might have to stop this and do another and just do a last one. I won't put it as parts because it's not a part of, is it? It's just additional information. Also as well, I noticed, I'm going to fly through this. I'm going to quickly fly through this. I noticed that I hadn't chopped, when I told you about the instructions for what you needed, I noticed I hadn't cut out another 11.5 centimetre hexagon. So that was one thing I didn't cut out. That was the one thing. So you will need that. I noticed at the end, I was like, where's my 11.5 centimetre for the lid? Now remember, lids, we're doing exactly the same with the boxes as we're doing with the lids. Butting them right up to the edges, and we're not sticking these side parts down, okay? I'm really rushing through. I've made lots of lids, so I'm quite confident with those. But, yes, we're not sticking them down the sides. If you haven't watched the other tutorials, Jodie always says, leave some breathing room at the top. And this is important when you're doing these as well, because if you don't, the lid's not going to go on. And that's why we always, really, you should always do the lid right as the last part. If you're making the plain ones that don't have all this extra bulkage on the side, not an issue in general, but I always make the lid at the end because it's pointless doing it at the beginning in case you decide through your projects that you want to use heavier paper, you want to decorate underneath, etc, etc, so on and so forth. Right, we're nearly here. We're nearly here. You know, I have rushed this, but you know, I've made quite a few now, so let's just get that on there. We're in, we're in, we're in, I hope. Yes, okay. Now, this is where I would test it. Mine's not quite stuck, but this is where I'm testing, okay? So I'm popping my box round and I'm actually looking at how much room I need to leave on each side so that I know that that is going to fit perfectly. And you can adjust yours. I've got a little bit of an overhang, I can see, but we can sort this out. So just looking, that's going to be quite a bit of overhang. We might need to really adjust. This is because of what we've got on it, okay? So going in at the corners, remember we're going to keep breathing room, so we're not butting it up all the way to the edge. We are leaving some breathing room. Put too much glue on. We've got a little bit of an overhang on these. Okay, it's not going to be an issue. I'm going to go round and I'm just going to have a look at that. It's because we've chopped it down as well. So I have got a bit of an overhang on the edge. I don't know why. I'm not sure. This is the, you know, when you're doing these, this is the, you know, you have to look out for things like this. So I will have a look and see why I've got an overhang on each side. It could be because I've chopped it down more, not sure. I'll have a look and I will, you know, when I do the next one, because this has been an hour and I really want to just show you about putting in the lights. So I don't know why that's happened. Really don't know why that has happened. Quite strange. Let's just have a look. Because I've got this overhang. Come on. Oh, where are we going? Where are we going? I've really... What have we done? Okay, come on. Off you come. Let's just... I think I've done it a bit too... That's better. I've done it a bit too tight there. So maybe do this, what I'm doing, and I'm just rushing through. I'm sorry, I know I'm rushing through, but that's a good bet. So when you're putting it on, when you're sticking them on, put your lid on and then maybe pop it over the box, because you know you've got that extra weight at the top. Oops, excuse me. Sorry. So yes, I will have to have a look at that because I don't know why I've got, I think it's because we've got that extra, you know, we need to have that extra room at the sides, and that may have just affected because you're not butting it up completely, or it could just be I've not cut that, I've not trimmed that off because I trim them off altogether. So it may well just be my trimmer. Do you remember I said to you yesterday, let's just keep that down there. Do you remember I said to you yesterday, I don't know if it's you or if it's me, but my paper trimmer doesn't seem to cut properly. It just doesn't seem to cut straight, and it could be something I'm doing. I really genuinely don't know. So this is either going to be because my paper trimmer's not cut straight and I've not cut the lines, because generally it's, you know, it'd be something I've done, or it may be, if it turns out that it is an issue, I will come back after I've done this tutorial, which we've got 4 minutes to go until an hour. After I've done this tutorial, I will come back because I just want to finish off telling you about the lights. I mean, this is it now. You've got it together, so you know that this is going to work. But if it turns out that it is a problem with the lid because we've done this, I will come back and let you know straight away. And if it's my paper trimmer, then don't worry. It's probably something to do with my paper trimmer. And I suspect, to be honest with you, that's what it is. I do suspect that's what it is. Please do it this way though, where you've put this on before you've stuck the corners down. Put the lid on first, and then you'll gauge it. Now I will obviously go away. Maybe I've not, I don't know, I can't work out why I've just got that slight overhang on every single one of them. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because my paper trimmer is not cut straight. In fact, I am convinced, because that is a little bit too low. It's not as, yes, it's my paper trimmer, my lovelies. It's not the lid, it's my paper trimmer, okay? My paper trimmer's not cut down straight. I can see that at the corners. So yours will be fine. Mine is just because my paper trimmer's not cut. So regardless of this, if you forget this tiny little bit, that is your box. Now obviously you can go ahead, decorate the lid. I've got these lovely bows from Tonic. Do you remember this set? These little bows. So I'm going to jig this around and I will make something of the top. We're going to have a just for you on the top. I just want to show you the, yeah, I have this. Use your real good tape for this. I'm going to go round the sides and re-put the tape in, but just to show you, you know, you're going to have your opening at the bottom, and there you go. No leakage. Yeah, that will go on the top, keeping your light within the box. And I don't think you can really see that, but I will do a lovely photograph showing you the lights, and you can see we have got a little bit of light round here, and this is because our lights are sort of sitting on the white paper. So bear that in mind. I used a very thick grey card for the first one, and white does show a lot of light through it, okay, unless you put something dark in there. So white is not the best colour. I've done this because this was the first one I'd done like this, and I didn't want to use my really precious grey card again because it's so expensive. But use a lovely, where are we? Oh, we're nearly done, 1 minute. Use a lovely thick double-sided paper for it, and then you're not going to see the lights coming through at the bottom. But I will show you that you can see putting those tiny little bits in there have really made all the difference. I will photograph that and let you see it, and I'm going to just come back and I just want to show you about how you put diamantes inside the other box. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'm sorry it was in 4 parts. It's a really lengthy project. It's one that you've really got to get your teeth stuck into. But I've enjoyed making these. I really, really have. These have pushed me, I said it before, to limits I didn't think I could do. But I have enjoyed it so much. So thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next tutorial where I'll just show you how to use the diamantes within the box. Thank you for watching. Bye.